Hey there, Rulers, DeMeulle here. It's time to give you our Blue Glow deck list for Moonglow. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, and to our guest lecturer members, Vite Ramen. Class is in session. So here is the deck list. As always, you can go directly down into the link in the description to go over to Force of Wind and copy it over to your deck lists so you can tweak around with it. So we've got Moonglow, my favorite ever stealth ambush ruler. Gagia, we don't play with you anymore. We use Moonglow instead, just way, way better. And the idea is that we are making use of a more blue-based package versus a green control package that you saw before with like regions and stuff, because we want to diversify threats, and we also want to be able to put out a potential threat early that lets us then just kind of sit back and establish a big old wall of defenses and resources with Moonglow. And we do that using the Nighttime Raiders combo, but instead of going Garion or something like that, we put out Scybdis. Scybdis is super great here. It's a big threat that's really hard for your opponent to deal with. Keeps generating additional bodies every single turn for free, and is just overall very, very strong. And then can keep itself safe, right, with Eternal. You saw that before where we got a Garion out, but then it got immediately answered by a 2-drop spell, and we're like, oh wait, that doesn't feel as good. So still making use of Adelbert to set that Nighttime Raiders and establish it. One thing that you can do based on how you do is you can respond to the Scybdis enter effect by paying a black to put Adelbert back face down so he doesn't even get destroyed, but that might be matchup dependent, or if you have another Adelbert in your hand, you might just let him go to save the will. Still playing 4 copies of Dancing Crimson Flames. It's really great here. Also, for additional value, we're also playing Lucifer Defeated One Wing. This is also another great way to be able to proc Nighttime Raiders, and as well as keep your opponent's hand size low without having to rely on God's Art and apply some additional pressure. Because again, we want static pressure while being able to then put cards face down. That was one of the things that the green version was kind of lacking, is that you set yourself up to not really be able to establish a really good amount of resources in the standby because you were still having to commit to board. Outdoor Hall of the Bandit King, also a great card. As you saw, we used it to get out of a bad situation and draw a game. We play some Echo, Trickster of the Crimson Lotus, which is also great here. Nighttime Raiders, a single copy of Shadow Knife. One of my favorite cards of the set, honestly, Arrival of the Conqueror, does some insanely good work. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a Darkness Energized, so we can't just like play it on turn 1. So it can be a little bit tricky to play it with this stone base, but that's why we're only playing 2. 4 copies of Mirror for some interaction, because we can certainly play that pretty easily. 1-hit KO Anesthesia. I just think this card is underutilized this format, and you're going to see it in a lot of deck lists. Being able to punish things like a Muse Spirit or an Alabaster or something coming in response to its enter effect to kill it, I just think in general is pretty nice. Then we have our little utility pieces here, a single Lunar Lake, a single Sign to the Future, a single copy of Hideous Dealer, which you saw put in some serious work. Eyes in the Darkness have come back for some more J-Ruler removal. We have a lot of cards we put face down in this deck. Eyes in the Darkness is really great, plus it's a 1-drop, so it does mean that Echo could recast it from Graveyard, which is great. High Speed Uppercut, if you hit an early card that you really want to hit with like Arrival of the Conqueror, High Speed Uppercut's an excellent follow-up from there. And then lastly, a couple of Vakkas just to kind of round out the options for this deck spot removal. So sideboard wise, you'll see here we say Mina Harkers, Therapists, Arlequins as a consideration, Hellfires, Grimoire of 1001 Nights to be able to replenish your hand. Fire Pit Trap's definitely a card that you don't have to reveal all the time. That's just something to keep in mind there, especially if you're going to go for like a Grimoire play. And then also do keep in mind that Rogue Spectator, because of how Fire Pit Trap works, we got that a little bit wrong. Casting Rogue Spectator while you have Fire Pit Trap out doesn't actually proc it, because you're still paying its cost, and outside the game is not a zone, it's an area, so it doesn't actually trigger Fire Pit Trap when you cast Rogue Spectator, or your opponent casts Rogue Spectator for that matter. So that is the list. Honestly, this is a ton of fun. If I didn't have a million deck profiles to go through for Masterpiece 2, I'd probably keep this sleeved for quite some time, but we got a lot of stuff to get into, so let me know what you guys have done differently with Moonglow, or how you've approached it, or how you tweak around what his threats are in the comment sections down below. And until next time, this is DMO73 saying class dismissed.